Hi yogis, Katy here at my studio in Elgin, Texas, Body and Shine Wellness. Today's full flow, we're going to be focusing a lot on opening the front side of our body, so like our chest, some heart opening, hip flexors, and quads. So you might want to grab a blanket and a block, but other than that, I think you should be set, and we'll get started here in a second. All right, so to get started, we're just going to begin in a comfortable seat. You're welcome to sit on your block or your blanket. Sometimes elevating your hips up, especially if you have tight hip flexors or knee issues, can help alleviate some joint pressure. So starting in a comfortable seat, close your eyes, relax your shoulders down away from your ears, and sit up tall through the crown of your head. Begin to focus in on your breath. Each inhale, filling up from the crown of your head all the way down to the base of your hips. Each exhale, letting yourself empty out from the ground all the way back up. Every breath in, let it be an opportunity to be present right here, right now. Every breath out, letting go of any distractions, plans, or obligations. As you move on your mat today, remember that the real practice of yoga isn't about the shapes that we make with our body. It's the opportunity to connect to yourself, your body, your breath, this moment in time. With that in mind, take another big full deep breath in. And exhale, let it go. You can choose to leave your eyes closed or start to gently flutter them open. Either way, we'll begin with some neck rolls. So tucking your chin down towards your chest. Rock your right ear over to your right shoulder. We'll go all the way around in at least one big slow circle. You're welcome to do more if you want. Feel free to pause and breathe. Maybe rock back and forth in any tense or tight places. You're welcome to keep going in as many circles as you want. Once you've done at least one or two, pausing in the middle, holding, notice the difference already between the right and left sides of your neck. And then starting to even out, going over left ear to left shoulder. If you kept count of how many circles you did the first time, try to even them out this time around. If you didn't keep count, just do what feels natural. Again, take your time. You can always pause these videos, spend a little longer if you need to. Once you have evened out your circles, keeping your chin tucked down, roll your shoulders up by your ears, and then squeeze your shoulder blades down and back, sending your chest a little bit forward. So starting to cultivate that little bit of heart opening that we're going to work on today, like I mentioned earlier. And once you've done a few shoulder rolls, if you have shoulder injuries also, you can just do one shoulder at a time too if you need to accommodate more space. But once you've found a little bit more opening through your chest, some seated cat-cow to warm up the rest of our spine. So just like you would cat on all fours, hands on your knees, you're gonna round your rib cage back behind you like a scary Halloween cat, tuck your chin down. And then just like you would cow on all fours, sticking your belly out, your chest forward, maybe looking a little bit up to stretch your throat. You can keep going with a few of those. Just breathing into your spine. Once you've found a little bit more space, feel free to change up the movements to whatever suits you. So you can circle your rib cage, you can reach your arms up overhead, do a little side to side stretch. Maybe you do a seated twist, a little forward fold, anything that works for you. It doesn't have to be something that I've named. You know, it can just be free-flowing movement. That's always the best, just letting your body do what it needs to do. Once you've done several breaths like that, making your way to down dog. Take your time to get there. So coming on to your hands, finding maybe a tabletop position to start, and then sending your hips up and back. Once you find your down dog, maybe starting to wake up the lower half of your body, stretching out your hamstrings or wiggling your hips a little bit side to side. If your shoulders are a little tight, you can soften your knees and bring your chest towards your shins or your upper thighs. Then find a little bit of stillness. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Your next inhale, start to look forward. As you exhale, small steps up to the top of your mat so that your hamstrings can stretch along the way. And find your way to ragdoll. Feet at least hip-width distance apart, maybe even a little bit wider. Soften your knees as much as you like to. Let your head and neck relax. Arms can dangle. You can grab opposite elbows and release your hand behind your heads, or maybe your legs, your heads. You probably only have one head, but oh well. Let yourself relax. If you want a little gentle motion, you can sway side to side, wiggle your toes, shake your head yes and no. And slowly start to release your hands. Shimmy your feet to a standing width distance. That could be hip width or a little bit closer together. On your next inhale, begin to roll your way all the way up to stand. We'll meet with eyes closed and hands at heart center. And take this opportunity to set an intention or a purpose for your practice. Something that if your mind starts to wander into to-do list mode or the past or the future, what's that thing that's going to anchor you back here in your body, in your breath? Whatever that thing is, take a big full deep inhale, seal it in your heart, and exhale, let it go. Take another breath in and breathe out. Begin to flutter your eyes open. Inhale, mountain pose. Arms come up overhead. If you need to kind of reposition yourself or just kind of find some movement through your joints, your ankles, your knees, whatever you need to do. I've always got to do a little snap, crackle, pop first. So whatever you need to do to get yourself settled, relax your shoulders down, pull your belly in and up, and notice the tilt of your tailbone. So especially as we do some front side opening today, a lot of times our natural inclination is to send our tail back, and that dumps into the low back, which is why people don't like hard openers a lot of the time. So instead of doing that, tilt your tail a little bit down or forward, and then pull your low belly in and up. Feel your core engage a lot more when you do that, especially through that hip flexor area that we're also going to be working on. And maybe you even feel your legs engage a little bit more too. So that's what we're going for there. In your mountain pose, finding those adjustments, take a big breath in. And then exhale, start to bring your hands down behind you. You'll clasp your hands right at the base of your tail and then roll your shoulders down and back as you breathe in. So we're not trying to do a mid to low back bend. Your hip flexors don't need to go anywhere, just opening up through the chest and shoulders. Take a breath in. And exhale, start to fold your way forward. Hinge from your hips, lead with your heart, let your head and neck relax. If it feels like too much in the shoulders to have the hands interlaced, just release to a traditional forward fold. If we feel okay here, maybe starting to lift the knuckles up towards the ceiling, away from your low back. And think about lifting more up so that the front side of your chest still stretches, rather than going towards the floor and kind of collapsing into your rotator cuff or your low back. So finding that length through your spine. Then inhale to a halfway lift, bringing your head up in line with your hips. If you want to keep your hands interlaced, just rest them right on your sacrum. If you'd rather undo them, or you already did undo them, just hands to your shins, your block, or the floor. Take a breath in. And exhale, high plank. Plant your hands, step back, top of a push-up pose. You'll hold and breathe here. Feel the weight more in your fingertips, less in your wrists. Lift through your shoulders like you've got a little string attached to your shoulders, lifting you to your ceiling. Inhale, shift forward. As you exhale, lower slow and control all the way down. Remember, we can always come to our knees to lower as well. Once you're down on the ground, tops of the feet come to the floor. Inhale, baby cobra. Lift your chest up and back. Roll your shoulders down away from your ears. Lengthen through the crown of your head and remove wrinkles from the back of your neck. So a lot of times we tend to kink our necks up like this, and it does stretch your throat, but maybe not in a great way. So instead of doing that, just finding more length through your cervical spine. Take another breath in. Really press into your pubic bone in the tops of your feet. Exhale, slowly lower back down. Come back to your toes. Inhale, press straight up to high plank, or all fours, also welcome. Exhale, downward facing dog. Send your hips up and back. Take a breath in, and a breath out. Inhale, look ahead. Exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat, however many steps you want. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Heavy head, relaxed neck. Inhale, mountain pose. Arms reach up overhead, strong belly. Exhale, interlace your hands together behind you. Inhale, open up your chest. Remember, not our mid to low back, just our heart for now. Exhale, forward fold. Optional lift through the hands for more shoulder stretch. Inhale, lift halfway. Hands either go to our legs or our sacrum. Exhale, chaturanga. Hands to the ground. Step your feet back. Lower down, halfway stop. Flip to the tops of your feet. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now, those of you who are new subscribers, because I know we have a lot, yay, go check out chaturanga modifications too if you need them. I'll try to throw a few in so you can see an example. When you're ready, look ahead. Exhale, step or float to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Rise up tall. Use your breath to help you rise. Exhale, interlace your hands together behind you. Inhale, open up the front side of your body. Exhale, forward fold, letting go on the way down. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, chaturanga, hands to the ground. If you don't want to do a chaturanga, remember you can always just hold your high plank, which could also be on your knees, and then just make your way to a downward facing dog. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. From here, inhale, lift your right leg high, pause, and breathe. So notice if you start to kind of lean into your left side when that right leg lifts. See if you can bring the weight a little bit more even between your right and left hands. If you can kind of square your chest back down to the mat as opposed to dumping to one side or the other. And then press a little bit more your left heel towards the floor. Lift the right leg a little higher. Take a breath in. Exhale, low lunge. Bring your right foot all the way up to the top of your mat. Again, however many steps it takes to get there. Here's where we may want our blanket. If we have sensitive joints, you might want to slide a blanket underneath you because we're going to lower our left knee gently down to the ground for crescent moon. So you're going to come up to your thigh. If we have tight shoulders, you can rest there, sink into your hip flexor, or start to bring your arms up overhead for a little more chest and shoulder stretch. If you start to sink into your hip stretch, which is awesome, we do want to stretch our hip flexors today, but if the knee starts to go too far past the ankle, take a second, shimmy the right foot forward so that way your joints can stay stacked and you're not putting pressure on your knee. If you want to mix it up on this slow first hold, you can put your forearm on top of your thigh, reach back, and add a little quad stretch. I mentioned we're going to do quad stretching today, so that might feel kind of nice. If it's not happening, that's okay too. Or if we need to grab a strap, you could also grab a strap, but it's not a huge deal. Take another breath in. And exhale, if you still have a hold of your foot, let it go. We're making our way to half splits. So for half splits, you want to start to straighten your right leg and sink your hips towards your heel. This is where our block might come in handy. You can leave the back toes tucked or top of the foot to the floor. My hamstrings are super tight today, so I'm not going to go too far back, but if we were to go a little further back, and let's say my hamstrings weren't so tight, I needed more challenge, you can keep your back really long and flat and start to fold forward. I'm not able to go that far today, but I think you get the idea. So breathing into the back side of this right leg. One more inhale. And exhale, start to creep your way back forward to a low lunge. Lift your left knee off the floor. You can move the blanket if you used it, or if it's not in your way, just leave it there. Inhale your way up to crescent lunge. Take a big full deep breath in. Now, if you shimmied your right foot way forward for that half moon or that half splits, or crescent moon rather, just get your feet back to where they need to be. Just step your back foot in or your front foot back. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, start to interlace your hands together behind you. From here, just like we did in that mountain pose, we're going to inhale, open up your chest. So little tiny upper back bend, little heart opener. If your balance is okay with it, maybe you also look up a little bit. Now remember that baby cobra we did. We're not trying to crank our necks back, okay? Same idea, just lengthening through the crown of your head and then finding a little gentle arch. Take another breath in. And exhale, start to bring your gaze back forward if you were looking up. Inhale up to crescent lunge. Arms go up overhead. And exhale, warrior two. Pivot your left heel down, shimmy it back a little bit if you need to, sink into your hips, and then arms go parallel to the floor. From here, hugging everything into center. So shoulders stack over our hips, head stacks over our heart. We're in one nice long vertical line through our torso. Without losing that length, inhale, reverse warrior. So what I mean by that is we're not trying to collapse to reach back for the sake of reaching back. We're keeping that lift, that length, and then just hinging. So we get a little bit of side body stretch. Continue to sink into your lunge. One more inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Hands go down to the floor. Step your right foot back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Pause and breathe here. So once again, kind of evening out your weight, finding that lift through the left leg, and then press your right heel a little bit more down to the floor. So stretching out your hamstrings, even out the weight between your right and left hand. Take another inhale, exhale, low lunge. Bring your foot forward. Again, find your blanket if you need to for your knee. If you don't, not a big deal. If you don't have a cork mat, you can also fold your mat over. Don't do it with cork mats because they can crease and break. But if you have just a traditional, rubber mat, that can work. And then coming up to your crescent moon. So again, back toes can be tucked or top of the foot can come to the floor. Sink into your hip flexor for a moment. Like I said, we're trying to open up the front side of the body. If you want a little bit more stretch, arms can come up. And then just breathing. Opportunity again, if you'd like, to place your left forearm on your left thigh. Kick your right foot up behind you. And then maybe you capture your toes or the top of your foot. If you want to get fancy, you can flip your grip. That's not going to work for me today. Again, I'm tight. It's a cold day here in Elgin. I don't know what it's like where you are, but it's very cold, and I haven't done much today. I've been sitting on the couch cuddling with Nama. Take another breath in, and then gently release your foot to the floor, making your way to half splits. So sinking again towards your heel. When we flow, it might be a good idea to leave the toes tucked, but for now I'm going to come to the top of my foot. I'm a little bit more open on this side so I can sit back a little bit further. This is what I was talking about of folding forward. Now we're not trying to just collapse and round, okay, because that's not really getting us anywhere. But if the leg can stay somewhat straight and your back can stay a little straight, you can begin to hinge from your hips and fold into that hamstring stretch. Make sure you breathe. One more inhale. And exhale, coming back to your low lunge. If you need to move the blanket out of the way, if it's not in your way, you can always just leave it there. But if you need to move the blanket out of your way, just move it out of your way. Inhale, up to crescent lunge. Again, maybe stepping a little bit inward if we lengthened our stance. And when you find that lift into your crescent lunge, hug your inner thighs to center. So it'll help you be a little bit more buoyant and supported to get your torso up. I see a lot of times people kind of get here and then they struggle to pull themselves up. If your legs are really solid and your foundation is firm, you can use your core a lot more effectively, and it's not quite such a challenge to bring yourself upright. Take a breath in. And exhale, start to interlace your hands together behind you. Again, inhale, rolling your shoulders down and back, and maybe starting to lift your gaze. If balance is a challenge for you, don't rush the lifting the gaze, okay? So we're not just trying to look straight up to the ceiling. You'll kind of wiggle wobble, potentially fall over, all right? So finding a point and then just slowly tracing it upright. As you do, lifting your sternum up, finding that stretch through your chest. One more breath in. And exhale, starting to bring your gaze, again, slowly right back in front of you. Inhale to crescent lunge. And exhale, warrior two. Pivot your foot down to the floor, sink into your lunge. You might notice I always, it's just a habit of mine, take my hands to my hips so that I can feel that little bit of external rotation in my thigh, so that my knee, when I look down at it, I can see my big toe and a little bit of my second toe. So I know that my knee isn't rolling inwards, and I'm finding that opening through my hip flexors as well, especially since today we're working on hip flexors. Just like we did on the other side, lengthening through our spine, breathe in. Sink into your lunge, breathe out. Inhale, reverse warrior, reach up and then back. Roll your left shoulder away from your ear. Maybe start to peek your gaze up for more balanced challenge. One more breath in. And exhale, chaturanga, hands come down. Step your left foot back to meet your right. Inhale, up dog. Or remember, option to skip it. Exhale, down dog. Take a breath in. And a breath out. So this time we're gonna go through it, flowing breath to movement. Always feel free to go faster or slower at your own pace, or even pause the video if you need to. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, low lunge, take it through to the top of your mat. Gently lower down to your left knee. Inhale, crescent moon. Exhale, half splits. Notice I'm keeping my toes tucked. It's gonna make this transition easier. Inhale, coming all the way up to your crescent lunge. Exhale, interlace your hands together behind you. Inhale, open up your heart, maybe looking a little bit up. Exhale, bring your gaze back down to center. Inhale, crescent lunge, arms go up. Exhale, warrior two, pivot your heel down. Inhale, reverse warrior, reach up and back extend. Exhale, chaturanga. If you want more challenge, float your right foot as you lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, low lunge. Use your core to help bring it through. Softly to your right knee. Inhale, crescent moon, sink into your hips. Exhale, half split, stretch your hamstring. Inhale, coming up to your crescent lunge. Again, pull your inner thighs to center. Exhale, interlace your hands behind you. Inhale, open up your chest, maybe look a little bit up. Exhale, bring your gaze back forward. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior, reach up and back. Exhale, chaturanga. Or remember, just high plank to down dog. Take a breath in and exhale, down dog. Good, breathe in and breathe out. Adding a little bit different stuff in this time. Inhale, lift your right leg high. We're gonna stretch out our hip flexor with a dog at a fire hydrant. So think about kicking your right heel towards your left glute and opening up your hips a little bit. You probably will feel a little bit more weight in your left side, that's okay. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, start to bring your leg back to a three-legged down dog. Inhale, and exhale, low lunge, step it through the top of your mat. Softly to your left knee, inhale, crescent moon, and exhale, half split, start to sink back. Inhale your way up to a crescent lunge, arms overhead. Exhale, interlace your hands together behind you. Inhale, look up a little bit, open your heart. Exhale, begin to look back forward. Inhale, crescent lunge, adding on some balance this time. Exhale, airplane. Take your leg out behind you, lift through your chest, think baby cobra in your heart. One more inhale. Exhale, standing splits. Hands to the floor or to your block. If you feel your front leg bent a lot, if your hamstrings are really tight, use that block to help you support yourself a little bit more so that you can straighten your front leg. Those of us who feel more comfortable, maybe finding some balance, lifting some weight out of one hand or both hands. One more inhale. And exhale, forward fold, feet to the floor, head and neck relax. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, chaturanga, or you skip it. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, dog at a fire hydrant. Again, pause and breathe as you find that hip flexor stretch. So the front part of your hip, kind of like those V lines sort of, down below those, that's your hip flexor. Take another inhale and exhale, back to your three-legged down dog. Breathe in and exhale, low lunge, send your foot forward. Drop to your right knee, inhale, crescent moon. Exhale, half split, sit your booty back. Inhale up to your crescent lunge, come all the way up. And exhale, interlace your hands behind you. Inhale, lift through your chest. Exhale, gaze back forward. Inhale, crescent lunge. Here we go with our balance. Exhale, airplane. And it might be several baby steps, okay? And that's okay. You might kind of step it in a little bit and then do your airplane. Awesome. As long as we get there, just hold and breathe. Strengthen your belly. One more inhale. Exhale, standing splits. Hands to the ground or to your block. Think about bringing your forehead closer to your left shin, getting that right leg higher up. Good. Take another inhale. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in and breathe out. One more inhale. And exhale, come on down. Take a quick water break if you want to. And then we're gonna get back to it with some belly up core. All right, so grab your block for me. We're gonna come down to our backs for a little bit of belly up core. So for today, we're gonna do a little bit of block switches to get started. So you're gonna take your block in your hands, legs go up the invisible wall, feet are active, so kind of get your feet more alive. Then you're gonna lift your shoulder blades off the ground, even if you don't have to, okay, because that's what engages our upper belly. Lift your shoulder blades off the ground, put the block between your legs, lower your legs down until you feel your low back wanna lift. Doesn't matter how far that is. And then come back up, lift your shoulder blades once again, switch the block, hence the name block switches, okay? So you'll just keep going back and forth with those. Good, we're here for 5. If you drop the block, not a big deal. For 4, inner thighs stay active, belly stays strong. For 3, 2, and 1. Stretch it out, long body stretch, knees to chest, rock and roll, whatever you need. Then from here, you can go ahead and put the block to the side. We're gonna do some Baddha Konasana, soles of feet together, knees open wide, crunches or butterfly crunches, hands behind your head or neck, big breath in. Exhale, lift from your heart. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Keep going. So a couple things to watch out for here. If you feel your low back swaying away from the ground as you do this, couple things. Number 1, maybe regular crunches are better for you today. That's okay. Also, maybe bringing the knees a little bit more closed. That's also great. Or just a smaller range of motion, either not lifting so high or not lowering so low. When it comes to your upper body, watch out for lifting with your arms and just kind of crunching your neck into your chest. Keep your chin long, just like we've been doing for 3, 2, and 1. Stretch it out, rock and roll, rest, relax. Last little bit we'll do on our backs, legs up the invisible wall once again. Hands can tuck underneath your hips for a little bit more low back support, or just arms by the sides if you don't need that. Take a breath in, exhale, slow and control, lower your legs. Again, once you feel your low back start to scoop away from your mat, you go right back up. It doesn't matter if we just lower a few inches or if we're maybe almost to the ground. Here for 4, make sure your low is slower than your lift. For 3, keep pulling your inner thighs to center. For 2, and 1. Once you're done, knees to chest, or long body, stretch it out. Take your time, make your way back up to a seat. So a couple things we're gonna throw in here for our next little standing series. Number 1 is gonna be a balance challenge in that airplane we did. So give you a visual before we try it, so you're not trying to watch the screen and do the balance at the same time. Just like we did interlacing our hands together earlier, we're gonna do that same thing. This time you have the option to keep your hands interlaced as you lift up into your airplane. So physically, it's not necessarily that much more challenging, in my opinion, because really you're just getting a little bit more chest and shoulder stretch. Mentally, it's a totally different story, because when you're up here on one leg and all of a sudden your hands are bound together, we get this mental thing of like, if I fall, I'm not gonna be able to catch myself, Yes, you can. Your hands are not glued together. They can come undone. All right, so it's more of a mental thing as far as the challenge goes with that than it is a physical challenge on that one. So just remember, if you do panic, you can separate your hands, or if it feels like too much in the chest and shoulders, or maybe just too much mentally, skip it, do the airplane like we did earlier. Another option you're gonna have to do if you wanna try it on today is flip dog. So in our flip dog, you'll lift your leg up like we did earlier, kick yourself in the butt like that dog at a fire hydrant. Notice my foot that's on the floor. It's going to start to spin back towards the back of my mat as I flip over. Once both of my feet are on the ground, I can lift my hips up, I can extend my arm and look a little towards my hand. That's why we've been practicing stretching out the back of our neck. When you're ready to come down, you drop your hips, you flip back over, lift your leg, and then we'll get into the rest of our flow from there. One other option I'll show you if you want to take it today, if you liked that quad stretch earlier, when we do our standing splits again, you'll have the option to reach up and grab your toes and do a little stretch like that. Okay, so those are all just options so that you have a visual and you know what my voice is talking about if you don't want to have to look at the screen. I know it's really hard to watch a screen when you're practicing at home. I started my yoga practice with DVDs, which dates me somewhat, but I started with DVDs, so I can relate to trying to watch a screen and do it for the first time at the same time. So anyway, just some visuals. Go ahead and grab some water if you need to, and let's make our way back to down dog. Once you're back in down dog, take a big full deep breath in, and exhale, let it go. Inhale, remind yourself of your intention. Exhale, let go of any distractions. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, kick yourself in the butt. Option to stay right here or play with flipping your dog. So my left toes are gonna rotate towards the back of the mat once both feet are on the ground. Stretch through your hip flexors, lift through your chest, your heart, and then maybe look towards your right hand. When you're ready to come down, you drop your hips, you flip your leg back up in the air. If you need to come to down dog first, that's fine, but meet with your right leg high when you're ready. Breathe in and exhale, low lunge. Take it all the way through. From here, inhale, crescent lunge, coming up to center, shoulders over hips. Exhale, start to interlace your hands together behind you. Again, option if we want to undo the hands, take a breath in, exhale, airplane. So starting to lift your left leg up behind you, roll your shoulders down and back, send your knuckles towards your heel, breathe in, and exhale, standing splits. Undo your hands, lift your left leg up higher. Option to kick your left heel towards your right glute, and then reach your right hand up behind you. Start to bring your heel closer to your hips and your knee up towards the sky. Forehead towards your right shin. Good, take a breath in. If you still have a hold of your foot, exhale, let it go. Back to a standing splits. Inhale and exhale, low lunge. Land your left foot back behind you. Inhale, crescent lunge, come all the way up to center. Exhale, warrior two, pivot your heel to the floor. Good, from here, inhale, star pose. Heels in, toes out, arms up. I'm gonna flip around so that it's not awkward and weird. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Prasarita Padottanasana. So take several breaths on your own here. Let yourself catch up with your breath, especially in those balance poses. We tend to hold our breath or maybe just forget to breathe. So letting this be a time to just kind of find your own natural creative movement. Catching up with your inhales and exhales along the way. You can do a twist, a chest expansion. Just stay still. When you're ready to come back to center, either hands on your hips or arms to a T. Come all the way back up. I'm gonna flip around so that I'm facing the right direction again. And exhale, warrior two. Pivot your toes ahead. Inhale, reverse warrior, reach up and back. Exhale, chaturanga, hands to the ground. Inhale, up dog if you're taking it. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, kick yourself in the butt. From here, right toes pivot to the back edge of your mat. Lift your hips up, reach your left arm up and back. Maybe peeking towards your hand. Lift through your chest, lift through your hip flexors, stretch through the length of your spine. One more inhale and exhale. Drop the hips, lift the left leg back up, breathe in. And exhale, low lunge, take it through to the top. Inhale, crescent lunge, come up to center. Exhale, hands go together behind you. Take a breath in, and exhale, launch your way to your airplane. Remember, we can do this with regular airplane arms, or whoops, there we go. Hands interlaced behind you. Find a steady breath, one more inhale. And exhale, standing splits, hands to the ground. Again, you could just play with it like this, lifting one or both hands, or kick your right heel towards your hip, lift your left hand up, maybe grab your toes, trying to bring that knee more vertical. Relax your head and neck, that's the part I always forget. One more breath in. Exhale, release your foot, inhale back to your standing splits. And exhale, low lunge, land your legs softly behind you. Inhale, crescent lunge. Come up to center. Exhale, warrior two, pivot your heel down. Inhale, star pose once again. This time, exhale, horse. Hands to your heart. Notice my stance is a little wide. Probably will be for horse. Shimmy your feet closer together so that your knees stack over your ankles and knees go same directions as the toes. You can stay like this if your hips are tight. If you want to bounce back and forth a little bit or take a little dip. You can do another prasarita instead on this side if you want. Again, catch up with your breath. When you're ready, coming back, stand up tall. Inhale, exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. And exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, half pigeon. Sweep it towards the top of your mat. We did a half pigeon tutorial recently, so if you are not sure what half pigeon is or you need a modification, go check out that half pigeon tutorial. We worked really hard on it. But a few simple things. Right knee goes towards the right side of your mat. Right ankle goes towards the left side of your mat so that you have kind of a 45 to 90, somewhere in there, degree angle of your knee. You can stay up here. Those of us who liked that quad stretch, you can kick your left heel up, reach back behind you, just like in that standing split. Pull your heel a little closer to your hip. If that's not your jam today, you've had enough, just coming down to your forearms or your block or your blanket. Let your head and neck relax and just breathe. We want to feel the outer right hip stretch. We don't want to feel pain in our joints. And you can let yourself relax. I'm just not fully relaxing so that I don't collapse into my mic and make the audio really weird. But you should relax. Make sure your jaw isn't tight, your teeth aren't clenching. Two more deep breaths. After your second exhale, starting to make your way back up to your palm. Extend your right leg back behind you. Might feel really nice if you want to try that flip dog again. So even after you do like a regular half pigeon in class, if this like is a nice feeling for your body, you can always kind of just stretch it out like that after your half pigeon. It's a nice opportunity to do so. If you hate it and it's not fun, forget I suggested that, okay? It's fine. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, half pigeon. Sweep your shin forward. Slowly settling in to that outer hip stretch. Let yourself take your time as you fold forward into it. Those of us, again, who wanted to stay up high and even out that quad stretch, please feel free to do so. But those of us who are settling into it, give yourself just time to process, time to relax and let go. You don't have to rush yourself anywhere. Take 4 more deep breaths. Make them the fullest, deepest breaths you've had today. With every exhale, letting go of any tension, any tightness, mental, physical, emotional. And after your 4th exhale, making your way up to your palms, extending your left leg back behind you again, maybe flipping your dog one more time if it feels nice, or just skip it, totally fine too. Take your time if you're flipping your dog, that was just a fast visual. Once you're making your way back to your down dog, find a big breath in when you get there, and a full breath out. Another inhale. And exhale, start to come down to your knees for child's pose. Take your big toes to touch, knees out wide. Let your head and neck relax down. If you want a little more shoulder stretch, maybe wiggling your fingers towards the short edge of your mat. If your shoulders are tight, bend your elbows a little bit, or even reach your hands back towards your heels. Let this be the opportunity to remind yourself again of that intention for your practice. And slowly start to make your way all the way up to a seat. Good job, guys. So, meeting in a seated Baddha Konasana, or seated bound angle stretch. Sorry guys, I give up on the Sanskrit for now. Soles of feet together, knees open wide. Take a breath in, sit up tall through the crown of your head, and exhale, start to fold your way forward. So as you've probably seen in my videos before, if your hips are on the tighter side today, just take your feet a little further away from you. That way you have a little bit more space for yourself to round forward, a little bit less stress in the hips. If you do want to intensify the hip stretch, just bringing the heels a little closer in, back stays a little longer and flatter, and you're probably gonna fold forward a little bit less. Again, separate your top and bottom teeth away from each other. This is a Baddha Konasana forward fold, by the way, I had it right. Just a little mental gap because I don't get enough oxygen when I do this. And then inhale, slowly coming back up to a seat, legs out long in front of you for Paschimottanasana. If your low back is feeling a little tender, like I mentioned sometimes happens with those heart openers, just soften your knees a little bit. You could even slide your block under there since you maybe have a block today, or your blanket, and just let yourself have a little bit more support as you round into that forward fold. If you don't need the support, you certainly don't have to do it, which is an option. And support also is not a bad thing. Using props isn't a bad thing. A lot of times people think it means like you're weak, or you're not strong enough to do a pose or something like that. Support is nice. Support is a good thing. So give yourself permission to nurture yourself a little bit. Slowly start to sit your way back up. If you did use a block, just remove it out to your side. If you want a little bit more core challenge on the way down to your back, you can extend your arms out long and slowly lower down. The slower you go, the more challenging it will be, or just lay down. Once you're down at your back, happy baby's where we're headed. So take your knees out wide, grab for outside edges of your feet. You can rock and roll side to side. You can straighten one leg, straighten both legs, tap your heels together. I like to give myself a little foot massage, or just kind of pop my joints a little bit. Do what feels right for you. Take 2 more deep breaths. And start to hug your knees into your chest. Give them a nice big squeeze. Keep your right knee hugged in, send your left leg all the way down to the ground. Inhale, pull your right knee in and up towards your armpit. Exhale, supine twist. Take it across your body. I've also done some videos on supine twist too, so if this feels a little off today, feel free to go check those out. Pause this video, come back to it later. You can look up to the ceiling if your neck is a little tight, or over towards your extended arm. And the hand that's on your thigh or your outer leg, don't feel like you're forcing or pushing anything so that way your low back doesn't get compromised. Just let yourself drop, allow gravity to do the work. Inhale, slowly coming back to center, knees into your chest, gentle rock and roll if you want it. Extend your right leg long, inhale, pull your left knee in and up. Exhale, supine twist. Take it across your body, letting your arm extend. And picture yourself wringing out anything that needs to be left behind on your mat today. Any stress, worries, anxieties, fear, guilt, anything that doesn't serve you. Just like you're wringing out a washcloth. Inhale slowly back to center, both knees to your chest. Give yourself a great big hug of gratitude. Thank yourself for your practice. Breathe in. And exhale, Shavasana, corpse pose. Feel free to make yourself comfortable. Relax your shoulders out from under you. Change the tilt of your tail if you need to. If you have a blanket today, you can use it across your thighs, or if you're cold, maybe like it is here, you can cover yourself up. Let your eyes close. And allow this to be a time to tune your attention inwards. See if you can find that mental state between sleep and wakefulness. Not letting your body completely drift into unconsciousness where we're taking a nap. And not being so mentally stimulated that we're making plans or creating to-do lists or reliving memories. Finding that space in between where you can just exist, be, and breathe. ankles, your wrists. Rock your chin from shoulder to shoulder. Gradually find bigger movements, larger joints. Seal your practice with whatever you need, whether that's a long body stretch, knees to your chest, or something else. At your own pace, rock on to your favorite side, using your lower arm as a pillow for your head. Take this opportunity to be grateful for your practice, for giving yourself time out of your day to nurture yourself, to connect to your body and breath. And as you feel ready, start to make your way up to a comfortable seat. Eyes closed, hands at heart center. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to share your practice, your presence, and your energy. The highest and brightest in me honors and bows to the highest and brightest in you. So bring our hands to third eye center and bow forward to one another. Namaste. Fantastic job today, Yogi. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you have any requests for next month, please let me know. As I mentioned, I know we have quite a few new subscribers this month, so if this is your first full-length flow, I hope you liked it, and if you want to go back and check out the rest, know that you have access to all the ones that were posted before you got here, and let us know what you'd like to see in the future. Thank you all so much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.